Hey, we're back here on the network. I'm Pat Freeman with my buddy Chris Stevenson. How you doing, Chris?
What's going on, Pat?
Hey, we have a very special guest with us here on the network today. With us in the middle is Republican presidential nominee straight from the convention, Mitt Romney. Mitt, how are you doing? Mitt says he's fine. We have several questions.
I don't think he's fine.
You don't think he's fine?
No.
Mitt, Chris does not think that you're fine.
No.
We've got to ask you some questions.
I think he's a sick man. Do you have Asperger's syndrome?
Do you have Asperger's syndrome, Mitt? He says he won't comment on that. He was not commenting.
He comments on everything else.
Well, he stated that he will take questions, but he will use us to answer the questions. He's going to let me answer for him. Well, I guess I'll start the questions off. Mitt, you said that at the convention during your primetime speech that you would create 12 million jobs. The economic forecasters already stated that they're expecting the U.S. to add 12 million jobs between the years of 2012 and 2016 anyway. What are you going to do different that would create 12 million jobs? They're already forecasted to be made.
Other than take credit for something Obama done.
Right.
Or essentially did.
You don't want to comment on that. He doesn't want to comment on that, Chris. Okay. What about the lies, Mitt? Can we talk about the lie? Can we talk about the lies?
Maybe we should be interviewing his puppet, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. What made you put Clint up there? You don't want to talk about that either. He doesn't want to talk about why Clint. He said he enjoyed Clint because he was backstage laughing, and he thought Clint gave a very inspirational speech and was a great prelude to him coming out there. So he doesn't know why America has been so critical of Clint Eastwood's speech. This is what Mitt Romney said.
Well, ask him why Clint Eastwood put another 10 million people out of work, since Eastwood claims 23 million people are unemployed, and he cried over that. And there's only 13 million unemployed, right? 12 or 13 million. So that's what we need to know. The people need to know, why did Clint Eastwood put another 10 million people out of work?
He said he was just coinciding with the rest of the lies.
Oh, okay, all right.
And you mentioned that Obama has cut the work requirement out of welfare. Why do you keep lying about that? You don't want to comment on that either. He doesn't want to comment on that. He's saying that Obama's been lying on him. But there's nothing to lie about. You're a job destroyer. You haven't created any jobs. You send them overseas, and you destroy American companies. What made you become a vulture capitalist rather than a venture capitalist? Most people think that you're a venture capitalist, when in actuality you're a vulture capitalist. You destroy companies. And a couple of times in your history, you have helped companies come into being, such as Staples, which was a great thing. But for the most part, you have made the bulk of your monies for you yourself and your investors by destroying other companies, such as Ampat Envelopes right outside of Buffalo, New York, which is mostly white Americans that worked at that company. You absolutely destroyed that factory.
You see, Mitt, when it comes down to it, you hate the working class.
Really?
That's the main thing. You hate the working class.
Yeah, Mitt, come on, let's talk about this. Why?
You hate people who just have one wife. Is that it?
Is that it? Do you really know what's going on in the Mormon Church? Are you're not telling everybody the whole story. You're a bishop in the Mormon Church. You're following after the teachings of Brigham Young, and Brigham Young had 55 wives, man. 55. I mean, I'm not saying this is a bad or good thing, but my goodness, that's pretty busy, don't you think, Chris?
That's busy.
How many wives do you have? You're not commenting. He's not commenting.
He's not commenting. Oh. Maybe he's got some secret wives in Mexico and the Cayman Islands.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on polygamy?
You know.
Better yet, you're sitting in between two black men. What are your thoughts on black people, since the Mormon Church has had a opinion of how black people came into being. You don't want to. He doesn't want to talk about that.
What do you want to talk about?
Boy, he just don't. He just doesn't want to talk
Yeah,
about it.
there are times you just can't shut him up.
Come on, Mitt. Come on. Let's talk about the convention some more. A lot of lies came out in this convention. Why not any troops? Why aren't we dealing? Why can't we deal with the issues? He doesn't want to talk. Chris, you try to talk to him. He's not answering me.
Mitt, listen, I don't have much to say to you, but it seems to me that that convention is a flop. Tell me something. Why did you pick Paul Ryan to be your vice president?
Come on, speak up.
This gets me. That could be a big blunder right here. He doesn't seem to understand any more that's going on than Sarah Palin did.
He's awful. Mitt, he's not a good choice. You would have done better with somebody who was shored up your foreign affairs credentials, because you really don't know very much about foreign affairs. You want to go to America's weary of war, and you have embraced a neocon war foreign policy program. You want to prolong the war in Afghanistan. You can't win that war in Afghanistan, man. You can't win. And then you want your line. You got on stage and you said Obama raised taxes. Obama has extended the Bush tax cuts, which are ruining that's the deficit problem right there, is the Bush era tax cuts, which you want to extend and then add some more to it. But also, he's lowered taxes on everybody. He's the lowest tax president, and you got up in front of international television and said President Obama raised taxes. Why did you lie? Why do you keep lying? He's not really talking to us. This is not a very productive interview with Mr. Romney.
Mitt, I know you saw that movie, or that documentary, when Mitt Romney came to town. The one that Newt Gingrich, your good buddy, put together. What do you think of that?
You didn't like it? Was there any untruths in there? You're not denying it. He's not denying it.
He's not denying it.
He's not denying it. Mitt Romney knows that movie is very accurate.
Oh yeah.
And he is not being a very good guest in talking. He doesn't want to talk details, but he knows that movie was very accurate. Why has lying become so much part of your campaign strategy? And it seems to have been that way more so when you've had a black opponent. In 2008, McCain, everybody gave him credit for not talking about certain things, but he still lied. Him and Sarah Palin still lied. You and Mr. Ryan continue the lying process. You don't have any plans, do you? How are you going to create 12 million jobs? You don't know, do you? Do you? What do you know about foreign policy?
He's not a job creator. He's a job destroyer.
Right. You said,
that's the thing.
yeah. You said,
you know, a vulture capitalist can't be a job creator.
No, they destroy jobs.
That's it.
You have the worst foreign policy qualifications that I've seen of any presidential candidate in my years of following politics. You're not qualified. You know, he doesn't agree with me, Chris. He doesn't agree. You just said that Obama went on an apologetic tour. There was never an apology tour. The state of Israel, which is one of our allies in the Middle East, you said that we abandoned him under the Obama administration. They just complimented him on being the best president that they've had.
See, what Obama's had to do since he came in office, first thing he did was damage control, because there was a lot of damage. That's it. That's not an apology tour.
No.
That's it. And that's one of the things that really led him to getting a Nobel Prize, because he was basically letting people know about all the wrongs that were done to them. Okay, and that's it. It's just damage control. There was never any official apology tour.
Right. Why is the Republican Party so divided, man, under your leadership? You're the nominee, so you're the presumptive leader of the Republican Party. Why is it that people aren't talking about the major divisions in the Republican Party? When Jeb Bush got on stage the other day, Mr. Romney, and defended his brother, everybody thought that he was defending his brother against Mr. Obama, but in actuality, Mitt, he was defending his brother against you and your organization that's running your campaign that really basically ostracized the Bush administration other than Condoleezza Rice. Everybody else was not allowed to be here, and you only used Condoleezza Rice to try to appeal to blacks and women.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody else in the Bush administration, he was speaking up for his brother because how his brother was asked to stay away from this convention because he left as one of the worst presidents in history. And you're trying to follow through with that. I mean, come on, tell us the truth. Why is it?
Your public wants to hear. You want to sit in that chair.
The Tea Party people don't like it.
You have to be forthcoming. More forthcoming than you are now.
The Koch brothers are either changing policy against you guys. This is a major problem. The Republican Party is a divided party. There are people that are publicly supporting you that aren't supporting you, Mr. Romney. Why? You're one of the worst presidential nominees that the Republican Party ever put forward, and you're still in the race for the presidency of the United States, and that's remarkable. And you're not making it, man.
You're there. You're up there simply because you have white skin.
Period.
And you're more stable than Newt and Rick Perry and some of the other people, Michelle Bachmann and some of the people like that. You're a little bit more. They see you as a little bit more stable than they are, but you are still way off course. You are still way off track.
Mitt, I don't know what to tell you. I really am disappointed in you. You were the architect of the Affordable Health Care Act of Massachusetts. It was a model for the rest of this nation to follow. And you won't take credit for it. That is the only good thing you did as governor of Massachusetts, man. You didn't create any jobs. You were 47th in job growth. You couldn't get any of your infrastructure projects done. They said you were one of the worst governors they had. You're not really talking about. You don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk about Romney Care? Romney Care is a great achievement on your part. You were pro-choice. Now you're pro-life. You just don't tell the truth, do you, Mitt? Mitt is not happy with us.
He does a lot of flip-flopping. And you know something? Here's the thing. I have great respect for your father. I thought George is a good guy in a lot of ways. George did a little flip-flopping also, but you take flip-flopping to a new level. A whole new level. Okay.
New level.
That's it. George, I admire George, but George stood against the Mormon Church as well as the Klan and backed Martin Luther King and marched with him and everything.
Right.
And he was for the union worker, the auto worker, and everything. You are a job destroyer, and you are active in a religion that is very suspect when it comes to race.
You don't want to talk about your religion? Okay. All right. Well, you talked about it at the convention, but you didn't get in depth with the polygamy and the racist part of the Mormon Church.
Right.
And also that it is a cult. You're not a Christian body. Evangelicals say what they want to, but you're not a Christian. You're not a Christian. You're a person of faith, of the Mormon faith, but you're not a Christian. And that's where, if you notice, evangelicals haven't come out just running and jumping behind you, other than Mr. Huckabee, but he's not running and jumping. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about something else. What about those tax returns, Mitt? Come on!
Oh, man.
You've only released part of 1 year, dude. You're holding off on releasing everything of the 2 years until October 15th. You would be the first presidential nominee since your father released 12 years of tax returns to release this least amount of income information. What do you got to say about that? Oh, you don't like what people say about you? Well, it's part of the job, man. You're going for presidency. You're supposed to be transparent. What about those Cayman Island deals? Are you part of that $31 trillion that they're the federal government is nailing some of you guys on with these offshore accounts? Are you part of that? Did you apply for the amnesty program to avoid a felony?
No, he claims to have left during a lot of those times. He wasn't with them. Other people in your company were doing things beyond your control, and you knew
this
nothing
is not,
about
not Bain. This is the people with the offshore accounts.
Oh, my
Now, for them to bring them, if they got caught, America offered them an amnesty program to bring this money back, Mitt. Am I right? Right.
That was still
Were
Bain.
you part of that?
Wasn't that still, that wasn't Bain?
No, these are
That's
just
amazing.
investors.
Well, see, here's the thing. Bain, and the thing about they've done that name a disservice. Bain was started by Bill Bain, who Mitt and those guys knew back in college.
Right. He worked for them.
He worked for them. But they went on their own and kept the name Bain for themselves. They don't.
Right.
They're not working for Bill Bain.
Right.
They just said let's steal the name.
Right.
Bain let them get away with that. Okay. Then they went to foreign investors. Okay. So really, there's nothing that you've done on your own, Mitt.
No. You've not
did-
done well at all.
No.
You don't want to talk about, did you commit a felony with your offshore accounts? You don't want to talk about it. Did you apply for the United States IRS amnesty program to avoid being charged with a tax evasion felony? Will you answer the question, Mitt?
Good Lord.
Boy, he's not cooperating at all.
No.
Well, we're going to come
Yeah.
back to Mitt. We're glad Mitt was with us here today on the network.
And I think Clint Eastwood is knocking.
And that's Clint Eastwood knocking on the door.
So
He's trying to help Mitt out. Mitt's on the hot seat today.
Yep.
And Mitt, we're going to try to get Mitt back with us.
You tell Clint to take his jazz-loving, black people hating self out of our face. We don't want to hear. We don't want to hear from him anymore. No more nonsense. No
That
more
was
Clint
a
Eastwood.
bad move, Clint Eastwood. Make
That
my day. Come on, Mitt.
No,
Mitt.
he does not make our day.
Not at all. Well, that's all for us here on the network. I'm Pat Freeman. This is my buddy Chris Stevenson and our friend, the Republican nominee, Mitt Romney, here with us on the network. He really didn't want to talk very much. He would not answer our questions. I don't even know why you came.
Mitt ain't.
Mitt.
I'm sorry.
Mitt.